Hello, welcome to the weekend, and welcome to the HolmFront, where we try to stay objectively subjective. I did it. I am Tyler, your host, and to my right, as always, is Mitch, my overly artistic friend, Mitch.
Practice
Thank,
makes perfect.
thank you for joining me. Okay, so we released Blade Runner, a review of the film, shortly after a pretty serious event. I don't think I have any international audiences, but everybody around the world knows about it.
Yeah.
So I figured not that I necessarily needed to address that event particularly, but I do want to address, because like even within the artistic realm, you're going to have people that are disagreeing vehemently with some of our opinions. I recently had a discussion. He was just rage baiting me, to be fair, but he came on. He was like, "Yeah, I've been watching your show, and you guys seem kind of like film bros." And he's like, "I myself am a cinephile, but yeah, you guys got those film bro takes, but I like your takes." And it's like, okay, man, whatever.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
so I was fun just because, like, regardless if he actually believes it or not, it doesn't matter. It was just a fun bit of jabbing, and he felt comfortable enough to do so, and he knew that I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna like blow up on him or whatever. But I brought up an interesting point because you also, excuse me, you also brought up, you're like, do you want to address any of that? Because it felt kind of weird that this huge thing happened, and we released this film review from the '80s. And it's like, is this really relevant, or do we need to
Yeah,
say
it's
something
like
about it, or is this irreverent? The word.
locked into like just talking about culture and entertainment. But, when a big tragedy happens, then it's just sort of really makes it hard to just, I guess, accept that. And I think it's important to accept that. So, we're not trying to make it a political channel necessarily,
Right.
but it just felt like, I don't know, a little something needed to be said in some way.
Yeah. And so I guess I'll just say on the outset, I mean, we've mentioned before, we try to stay fairly apolitical, but obviously we have political beliefs. I think the important thing, especially within this friendship, is that we vehemently disagree on some pretty fundamental issues. But the important thing is that door is always open to discuss, and it's always important to do that graciously and with the presupposition that could be wrong, and it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. And that's
Yeah.
I'm actually wanting to make that a shirt because it's something I say all the time. It's okay to be wrong. Mostly I say that when I disagree with someone, but
Yeah.
but
But
it
actually
actually
holds some truth
it
in
is
this
okay to be
context.
wrong. It's all right. It's like
Yeah.
just accept that and acknowledge that. And like a lot of this stuff, art is a difficult thing to navigate. It's difficult to not only try to interpret what someone maybe may have meant when they were creating something, but it's also something to realize like art is interpretive, and that's why we have the phrase objectively subjective, is that art is inherently subjective, even though it has objective qualities on whether it's good or bad or if it's effective or not. Um, we like to open that conversation, and that's what we're trying to do on this channel, is to pull out the artistic merit of things, but also to allow the fact that we want to have these discussions and disagreements and different interpretations. Like all that stuff is good. And with this event that happened recently, I think it's more important to double down on that message of like, hey, go out and have those conversations. Don't be afraid of disagreement. Don't be afraid of opening up that conversation and making sure that it remains civil. And on this channel too, like throw in your comments, throw in your disagreements, throw in where you think that we're wrong or we're dumb. And like I actually appreciate that. And like I'm going to get things wrong. Like I do we do a lot of work here on this channel. If there's a book I
You do a
try
lot of work on this channel. I don't work
fair,
that hard.
fair enough. I try and read any source material. I try and understand what an artist's uh, view of his work is before I get into it and like just pull my interpretation. But I also rely on my interpretation. I know you have a lot of background in schooling and stuff. So we come at it from different perspectives, and a lot of times we have different viewpoints, but we like to sit down and hash it out and maybe either come to some kind of middle ground or even be like, oh, I like the way you interpret that. I didn't see it that way. I saw it this way. And it's like, oh, that's a good way too. We don't really know which one's correct or which one's wrong, but it it's primarily comes from, how we were raised or what we're used to or what we're interpreting into the art piece, which is a testament to good art, really. But that expands into the larger cultural narrative, right? And that's, like I said, I think it's an important message to throw. Like, just don't be afraid to have conversations and disagreements, but also make sure that you're not the instigator of what's the word? Not violence, but pushing into a disagreement that just becomes
Hostility?
counterproductive. Sure, hostility is a good
Yeah.
word, but make sure it's productive conversation and make sure that instead of reacting angrily or negatively, just like mull over it, make sure that you're not the one incorrect and then come at it again. Or maybe do some more research and then come back and reopen the conversation. It's not, you don't always have to close the conversation when you start it. But I just thought it would be an important thing to just come out and say something. And
Yeah.
maybe this is a little too rambly, but it was a pretty rough event for a lot of people, specifically for those of us that saw it. And if you haven't seen the video, by the way, I'd recommend you do not. It was,
Yeah.
I remember seeing it, I saw it at work, very visceral, very violent, and it stuck with me. That it's definitely left an impression. I would even venture to say a scar. So I figured it was good to come out and say something. So, do
Yeah.
you have anything to add to that?
I do.
Okay.
Couple of things. I mean, to go on to that last comment, mine was mostly just seeing some people's reaction online just really kind of shook me to my core. And I just don't really, you know, for we've been almost doing this for what, about a year now, I think,
Almost.
almost a
I
year.
think November. Yeah.
There's been a couple of times where we're reviewing movies that have an inherent, I guess, political angle to them. Like Amelia Perez was one,
Yep.
Sinners became one for some reason. And, throughout that, it's like I'm consciously aware that people might disagree. And there was even fear over that. But that was just a movie. It's like, it's just an opinion about a movie at the end of the day. Like, who cares? But some people have really taken this stance of like, my opinion about this has to be like what your opinion has to be what mine is. And I just feel like that completely flies in the face about having diversity of thought, which I hold in such high regard because you learn from each other. And so, like, if you shoot down hearing other people's opinions, then it's like you just close yourself off into a little bubble. And you might think that's safe and secure, but really that's just depriving you of life experience. And so I think, as time has gone on doing Homefront, I've tried to more and more just let myself have my opinion and be like, that's just my opinion on the movie. I'm allowed to change it if I want. I'm allowed to be wrong. It's like not, it doesn't have to be this perfect measurement. Like I'm not the end all be all on some movie or whatever. And that is taken to one, just arts and entertainment. But I'm trying to take that opinion just elsewhere as well. I think it's just kind of like, yeah, like if I feel this, then that should be my opinion and that's okay. And again, it's like you have the power to change your opinion, especially as new evidences or new experiences come to light. So it's not like this is, it's not something you have to be so committed to. And in fact, if anything, that you're just cutting yourself off from being more open. So, and I would also say too that, if I can segue us to the end point,
Well, before we
go
continue, I
for it.
would say before taking any kind of stance, whether it be with what we're saying or with what anyone else is saying, I would encourage you, and this is something I've actually learned from doing the channel, because I tend to be a lot less maybe aggressive in my passionate beliefs for a lot of these artistic endeavors. I tend to be more willing to acknowledge something that someone's doing that I may not have liked it on the outset. And that is from having these discussions. And I would encourage you that if you have any set beliefs, whether they be an artistic, political, religious, whatever, that if you're not regularly challenging those and making sure that you actually know what it is that you believe and why, that you go and you allow that door to be open, that you find someone that you can have those conversations with, because it'll either strengthen your belief or show you where you're incorrect or where you need to change, but always come to it with a measure of humility. And it's going to be tough. Like, it is really hard to have your beliefs challenged. It's very difficult. And I realize that because I have friends that challenge my beliefs. And, like, that's not to say that I have it all figured out. I mean, I'm wrong about a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sure on this channel, I'm all kinds of wrong. But it's a good thing to evaluate that. And not only to evaluate specific beliefs, but how you determine what those beliefs are and how you determine what stances you're going to take and which ones you aren't and how you're going to take those stances. Um, so yeah, I think that that was an important thing to come out and say. But what was your segue? What was your second point?
Well, to kind of comment briefly on that, like, yeah, remembering that humans are fallible and that they're always in process. It was like a friend of mine once said that, like, we're always he said that we were always growing, or we were always what's the word? We're always outputting energy, and so we're in a constant state of like projecting our ideas, our values, our interests are just exuding out of us, and whatever's going on inside comes out in some way or other. And I heard it on a podcast as well a while back. I can't remember which one it was, but they said it was interesting how, like, just when you wake up in the morning, like, you kind of set yourself in some kind of alignment, whether you mean to or not. And if you just take, like, I think they wanted like 15 minutes, which I think is a bit much. But they were
Get
like,
up that early? Ugh.
yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to spend that
I'm
much
already
time.
up at 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm not getting up at 9:45.
Well, 15 minutes just to sit and think. I don't know if I want to do that much. But he basically said to, like, think about, okay, what kind of good can I give today? Because when you think about like what I'm going to do and what I'm going to gain, then it puts you in this like sort of self-motivated mindset where you're just trying to accommodate yourself. And then you're not really seeing people and engaging with them properly. And so I've been trying to do that a little more, of being like, okay, so what should I do today? Or like what would be like a good opportunity for me to seize upon? So if I'm teaching a class or something, students get really engaged with something, then I'm like, well, maybe I should encourage that, right? And then it's like now I'm more privy to that being a worthwhile endeavor instead of being so locked into myself all the time. So kind of like, I guess, is the counterpoint to what you're saying, where you're like, focus on how, where your beliefs coming from and kind of refining that process. Also be aware too that, you have an influence on those around you. And I think being conscientious of that is important. It doesn't mean you should just like, not share your beliefs. If anything, it's the opposite. It's when you don't, then you just get locked into people who are like-minded. And there's nothing wrong with that until it becomes the only kind of company you have.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Was that your...
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
That's my sentiment. Hope you enjoyed my... This has been Sentiments with Mitch.
This has been...
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Sentimental Moments with Mitch. I will say, as a final closing point, that to jump off of the echo chamber thing is that, yes, get out of your echo chamber, but more importantly, go outside. Go touch some grass. Go meet someone you haven't met. Go to some uncomfortable location. Like I said, go to an event that has people that all disagree with you.
Yeah.
Like, go to a church.
Be challenged.
Yeah, go to an event of a political party with which you disagree, something like that, and then just sit down with somebody. I think it's important now more than ever to actually open these conversations, to open these doors. So we just felt like might as well say something, right? But
yeah, because here on the HolmFront, we have opinions about lots of things.
In case you hadn't noticed, yeah, like I said, try to keep it apolitical, but at some point you're like, why? Just say what you mean.
Well, by that I mean, the importance of like not being so concerned. I mean, because we don't. Let me put it this way: like we don't have sponsors, we don't have like advertisers or anything like that. So we're just on the internet. We just say whatever we want, and with that comes a certain level of responsibility. But and we're trying to say something that's valuable for everybody watching. But at the same time, like we just got to be true to ourselves at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
I agree with all that you said, even if what I added did not help.
We're gonna go fight about it now. Probably fisticuffs.
Hang up, and then it's just a full-blown argument.
Choose your weapon, sir.
Do a duel, a proper duel.
A duel to the death.
Maybe not that far.
Oh, to the pain.
Yes,
to the pain.
To the pain.
Thank you for watching. So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.